Hey, I'm going to be showing you how to change the brakes, the brake pads on a Mercedes AMG 6.3. This is a CLS. I've already done the front brakes. So now I'm going to show you how I do the back brakes. Okay, I got the wheel off. You'll notice here's the brake caliper. If you haven't driven the car around for a long time with that brake light coming on your dashboard, more than likely you'll be able to keep this brake sensor right here. When you pull it off, you'll notice that it just reacts to metal on metal contact with the brake caliper. So more than likely you'll be able to pull that out right there and reuse it, and it just plugs in right there. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug the sensor real quick. And it just comes out. Two holes, leave it there, and that's good. And then you can take that apart once you get the caliper, the shoes out. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'll be knocking out these two pins right here, this one here and this one right here. I'll just use a couple of tools so I won't damage the caliper itself to punch those through, and they'll come out the back here and you'll just pull them right on through. So that's the first thing. You'll see I use a couple of different tools just to get this started. Same thing on the bottom. Just get it started. Next, I found an Allen wrench that fits all the way through that hole, and I'm going to use that to push it all the way through. And then it just comes out of the back end just like that. Now I'll do the bottom one. You can see here all right, where is it? Oh, it was really too close. It's just right there. Comes right out. Okay, you see this clip here? It's kind of held in place by these things here that are actually part of each of those brake shoes. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to push back the actual plungers for the brakes so you can loosen these up enough to get them free. And you can do that by grabbing right here and squeezing with the pair of pliers there and there, and that'll push those brake plungers back. Another way to get those plungers apart is to stick this down in between the two of them and just kind of rack it back and forth, and that will separate them a little bit. So now you just slide the brake shoes out. And you can see that that clip is on there. So when you put these back on, you're going to have that put in place before you slide them back in. Here's the sensor that I was telling you about. As you can see, it's come in contact with the brakes now, and that's why you get your brake signal. It'll be way down inside, and I'll show you that later. But this will just slide right out. I'll show you that here. So you can see, slides right in there, just like that, with those grooves. So as you can see, I've slid the sensor right back in place on the brand new brake pad. So like I mentioned before, these two plungers are going to have to be pushed all the way back in so your new brake pads will fit. You see that these are sticking out a little bit, and I'm just going to stick a screwdriver in there and push one back. You'll see that the other one will probably move out when I push it in, but it may not. Yeah, you can see that. So I'm just going to hold this top one in place and push the other one back in. All right, now you see that all the plungers are pushed back in space, and we can slide the new brake. Well, that one's come back out again. So anyway, I'll push that in and then we'll install the brakes. Okay, the hardest part you're going to find of doing this brake job, and it's really not that hard at all, is getting this piece back in there. So what I did is I temporarily kept the brakes in place by putting a couple of Allen wrenches in here to keep the brake pads in place. And then I took this and then pushed the end of it way up here, and then pressed down on both ends of it and slid it down so that this clip down here at the bottom slid underneath these two things. So you got to keep pressure on this end and press it down beneath that so that you can slide this piece right here. It'll slide from there to there once you press this end of the clip underneath those two. That'll be the hardest part. And you can see right now I've got the pins are resting in there, just kind of holding in place. Now all I have to do is take my tool and pound these back into place, and then reattach this cord to that plug right there. You can see that pin just now showed up right there. I'm going to work on the bottom one. You can see now I got those pins in place. I'm going to plug the sensor back in. And that's how easy it is to change the brakes. You can see that nice and loose.